our agenda
So-
tomorrow. I will not know. Okay, okay. Sorry to be a couple minutes late. We're sorting out some agenda pieces for class, but anyway, we are here to talk with Clayton Clark from GMT to give us a quick update on things. And I know that you're probably going to be coming back this afternoon. We're having a more in-depth conversation around a lot of public transportation. But I think that we wanted to hear from you specifically just about, a little bit about the plan for the transition to tiered fare service. And thank you for joining us today. And for the committee, we did get a report in December that was emailed to you, and it's also on our committee page as well. So
Thank you so much. And I started giving an overview to Senate Transportation this morning, and they stopped me very quickly and said, we read your report. We just want to ask you questions. So I am completely flexible to the committee's needs.
yeah,
My thought was just to provide a high-level overview and hope to give time for clarifying questions and move from there.
that sounds perfect.
And so I want to start by just making sure that everybody understands that the service that is returning to fares is going to be the urban local routes that operate in Chittenden County, the commuter routes that end in Chittenden County, and the link routes that end in Chittenden County. And only for GMT service, we do have, for example, Tri-Valley Transit operates a commuter account that ends in Burlington, but the return to fares will not be impacting them. One of the things that we wanted to do with our return to fares is to simplify our fare structure. In the past, we had different fare costs, which included the cost for a single ride and the cost for a pass. Across the urban, local, the commuter, and the link. We decided to unify the costs across all of those services. Part of that was because the areas that we have not seen a return in ridership since the pandemic was the commuter and the link routes. Those routes are critical for us for some of our federal measurements, and so we wanted to make sure that we did not provide a greater disincentive for that ridership to decrease. And we set on a standard fare of $2 and a discounted fare of $1. And one of the things that before we went to fare free, we're going to use the same discounts that were in existence before going to fare free, where approximately half of our riders met the eligibility criteria to have a discounted fare. And so I know that we discussed a lot about GMT's interest in exploring other discounted fares, but with the addition of the 10% revenue requirement and with about a half of folks already receiving a discounted fare, we didn't explore other discounts. I can tell you that's something that I think that we'll continue to look at in the future, and where we have opportunities and where it makes sense, we will certainly consider doing so. And one of the things that I've been happy that in hearing and working with some of our partners, we're currently working with DEVA on perhaps some ways that some Medicaid folks would be able to have better fare assistance in the past. So I just want to let you know that, to be completely upfront, that when I was here last year, we were talking about, maybe veterans or folks who are economically challenged, which is probably the majority of our riders. Having a discount, and we did not move forward with that because of the revenue requirements. The thing that I'm most proud of with the new fare structure is that we are flipping the economics when it comes to how you get your best rate. And so in the past, if you wanted to have the most cost-effective transit, you had to put money up front. You had to buy a monthly pass in advance. And that amount was $50 or $40 over the past 20 years. And we know that for a lot of our riders to be able to put over that much money at once is a challenge. With the new system, we're going to be able to essentially do that backwards, where people are going to pay up until what would have been the cost of a monthly pass. And then after that, their additional rides with GMT will not be charged. And so that is one of the reasons why I'm comfortable with moving from $1.50 to $2 for the urban routes, because what we know is that our most frequent riders will not have to pay more than they previously did, because most of those folks were not getting monthly passes. Most of those folks were paying the $1.50 or the 75, and so they would get over what the price cap would be previously. And so I think that this is an example where, even though we're raising prices by 33% for our most used services, we have a system in place that's going to really make sure that the overall costs are not going to be more than they previously had been. One of the things that I continue to be excited about the GenFare system is that it's going to allow us better partnerships with other organizations. One of the things that is advantageous to GMT is that fares themselves that we receive directly from a rider is not considered local match when it comes to our ability to draw down other funds. But if we have an agreement with an employer and they make a contribution towards fares so that their employees are able to ride, those funds are considered local match. So we have a financial incentive to find other people to pay for our rider service as much as possible. And as I mentioned, we're working with DEVA to assist folks who are Medicaid eligible and who have demonstrated limited transportation ability. We're working to reestablish the partnerships that we previously had with the University of Vermont and Champlain College with their unlimited access programs, and they're going to have much greater control over the system than they've had in the past. And we think that that's going to really help us when we move beyond the initial opening to encourage employers to develop fare support. Because one of the things that was a problem in the past is that employers would say purchase a monthly pass from us. And then what happened with that monthly pass really was out of their control. It could be provided to somebody other than the employee. And the system that's going to be happening now, they're going to be able to have much greater assurances that it will go towards the employee that they're helping, and that they'll also be in control of determining who is eligible and not eligible within the system. So if somebody leaves employment or if their employment status changes in any way, that they would no longer be eligible for that subsidization, that they'll be in control of that. So those are the things that are looking good. I can tell you that one of the things that didn't look good is we obviously are not charging fares now. We had hoped to be able to charge in January. The reason for the delay is that one of the components that we needed that is critical for our cash-based riders was not going to be here. It's not here yet, but it should be here next week. And that is the smart cards that cash-based riders will use so that they can get the same good prices that people who have credit cards or bank accounts, when they set up their accounts, will be able to have. We thought that it would be inappropriate to move forward with the system when the folks who are the most vulnerable wouldn't have those price protections. So we're going to be restarting on March 6th. We're not asking for additional funds to cover the fare losses during that time. We've had some luck with our ability to purchase diesel in advance at a lower price than we budgeted, and so that will largely help us pay for that gap. And we chose March 6th because it's the middle of the week. It's a Wednesday, and it's not at the beginning of the month, but it's the day after town meeting day. We didn't want anyone to have concern about fares be something that would prevent them from voting on town meeting day. And so we decided to postpone. So instead of March 1st, it would be the 6th. Because we just thought that would be a horrible way to restart and have people disenfranchised from the political process.
So I think you covered, and I hope members read the report. And I want to say we can have a few questions, but just thank you, because this is really, this is the additional money that we found to help make this transition. And from where I sit, it looks like you really kind of carried out the intent, or the intent of this committee.
Thank you.
Are there other questions of the committee, Representative Shaw?
Hopefully a quick one. Smart cards that you're waiting for,
Yes.
so your cash customers will get the same benefits as everybody. How does that work? Well, I'm a cash customer. I have a smart card. I pay cash, insert my card. Then you tabulate that.
What happened is that somebody will come to our transit center for the first time. We will set up their account for them. They'll give us some cash. We'll give them a card that will have the cash value on the card. And then in the future, when they want to add more cash value, they're able to do that at the transit center. In the future, the system that we're using will allow people to add their cash at pharmacies, at local retailers. It's part of the income system, and that will make it even more convenient.
Kind of like a refillable debit card.
Exactly. And we also expect that some of our cash-based customers will find that it'll be more convenient for them to actually go to a drugstore, purchase a prepaid cash card, and then use that to populate their account. And so they'll also have that option.
Representative Burke?
Yeah, how, so you said that people would not have to, if they wanted a monthly pass, they would pay, like, so they'd pay whatever, $2 or $1 or whatever,
Yes.
until the $40 monthly pass.
Yes.
So what if they're, and then the monthly pass for low income is 25 or something? No.
So it's the discounted rate was $25. That's for people who are younger, the ages of 6 to 17, older, the age of 60 and above. And we do recognize that 60 is not old. I want to make sure that nobody here feels that I'm saying that. That was a bone of contention downstairs. And then people who self-identify as having a disability. And so at this point, there actually isn't a discount option for folks who are low income only. And so that does concern me. But again, with 50% of our folks receiving a discount or expected to be receiving the discount, we felt that if we expanded that, then essentially the real rate that we would be charging everybody would be the discounted rate. And then that would be, more than the dollar.
We're going to be hearing more about the Medicaid rides, and I think we want to allow for some good ample time for that conversation. I don't want to cut that part of it short, because I do think that this committee is concerned about, lower income Vermonters, and want to make sure that we're understanding that some of us might be, we just want to be able to unpack that conversation a little bit I just want to assure the committee we're going to have time to really kind of dive into that, because I think there's a few layers to that.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't want to cut you off, Representative Burke, but I just want to make, I want to, because I don't want to rush the conversation, and have half, like, a portion of the conversation, but we have some back-to-back testimony coming in. I think that's at 2:00 this afternoon, and I hope that will you be in the room for that as well. Great. Well, good. This is pretty impressive, and how it'll be interesting to see how the rollout goes in March. We always know there are always a few bumps when you do something new.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll be the drivers will feel a little bit, that'll ease the pressure on the drivers from collecting fares, but also it's that kind of contactless transaction is was a concern that GMT had. The drivers that you're driving.
As much as I may be happy with the progress we made, I'm not going to tell you that I'm not worried about, this is the single biggest IT, infrastructure project that GMT has ever done in its history, and doing it in just under a year. We're going to do our best and to limit those bumps, but we'll see how it goes.
We have one more question from Representative.
Quick question, the access to the smartphones,
Yes.
off the shelf from somewhere,
Absolutely. It comes with the provider that does both the hardware of the fare boxes. They also do the software of the financial system. So we'll have a GMT branded app. And we know that about 90% of our riders have smartphones. And the thing that will be nice about that is that they'll be able to set up their own account in just a few minutes, the way if they were just doing a DoorDash or the Dunkin's, app. Yeah.
Great, great. Hope it works.
Me too. Me too.
Well, we'll have an opportunity here to discuss more about this afternoon's public transportation. So I think let's.
Yeah, more of a question that, how do you certify 60 and over? Is it self-certification or?
We're all self-certification. Yeah.
Great.
Or you're treading
Well, Clayton, thank you. Thank you for your work on this. And this is not the end of the conversation around public transportation. We know that these presentations this afternoon and within the context of the transportation budget we'll be looking at. So look forward to continuing to do.
Absolutely. And also just to let you know, I'll be reaching out now that the non-federal match study has been published. One of the things that folks will see is that the situation with GMT Urban is going to be a financial situation that'll be a little earlier than some of the other transit agencies, and the magnitude will be a lot higher. And so that's something that would definitely want to talk to you about whenever your schedule allows. And so I'll be sending you a kind of list of items that the committee may be interested in.
So with that, I think people have meetings at noon time, so we're going to couple this up.